Okay, so I mean, this is something that I work on a lot with clients. It's one of the big worries that people often have when they're heading into a separation. How do they tell their children? So there's a few kind of fundamentally important things I think here. The first one is that if you can plan this and plan it together so that you know what you're going to say and you've agreed on what you're going to say to the children together with your ex-partner. Really important, I think, to separate their role as your ex-partner from their role as the children's other parent. And so try and view those two things separately. For the children, you're both their parents. So they will need to know that you both love them. They'll need to know that this isn't their fault, however old they are. Now, I've spoken to adult children who feel guilty about their parents' breakup. So reassure them you both love them. It's not their fault. Think about the timing of when you have the conversation. So not when they're hungry, just before dinner, not when they're really tired. So yeah, think about the timing, so plan when you're going to do it, sit down together. When you're having that conversation, remember that you can't answer every question. They may have questions, and that's absolutely fine. And it's okay to say, we don't know the answer to that just yet, but we will work it out. Especially on things that they might want to promise that you will definitely not be moving house. Well, you may not be able to make that promise. So it's better to say you don't know than to make a promise that you may not be able to keep. Also reassure them about things that you do know, things that will stay the same, perhaps things that will change, and try and find upsides in the things that will change. So reassure them perhaps that they will spend really good quality time with both of you, that they will be able to carry on doing certain things that they're used to doing with one of you perhaps. The other thing that often comes up for people is that they want to delay telling their children. They're not quite sure whether they should tell them yet. And the one thing that I think stands out for me in this is that your children are probably much more aware of what's going on than you think they are. They will have noticed probably, unless they're very, very young, of course, they will have noticed that there's something wrong. They will have picked up on atmosphere and so on. And they're likely to be writing their own story about exactly what's happening. And sometimes that story could be even worse than the reality. So really important, I think, to be really aware and be really aware of the kinds of questions that they're asking you, because the questions they're asking you will give you an idea of the kind of stories that they're creating in their heads. And then once you've had the conversation, make sure there's time if they're upset or if they want to ask questions, that they know that's okay. If they don't want to, that's also okay. If they want to disappear off into their bedrooms or whatever it might be, that's okay, as long as they know that you're around to answer any questions going forward, and to be there to help them through this. I hope that helps.
I'm sure it will, Claire. Thank you very much. And if anybody wants any more tips from Claire, she has published a book, which I'll show you here, which is called Breakup from Crisis to Confidence, and you can get that on Amazon, and we'll put a link in the information on the side of this video. Thanks very much, Claire. See you soon.